morning, everybody. Welcome to the Agent Power Huddle. Today is Wednesday. Can everybody hear me? Because I was having a hard time hearing. Yes.
I can hear you.
Good morning. Okay, so today I want to talk about, last week we talked about setting up your next 120 days, the 120-day push. Everything you do today, yesterday, the day before, is going to affect your business in the next 30, 60, 90 days. So I was talking about how you needed to set up your holiday social posts, if you're going to do any videos, even if they're consumer videos or client videos, go ahead and pre-record them and have them ready and scheduled to post on the days that you want them to post. Because inevitably, when you do prepare, what happens, Alex? Get busy, right? So, is that true? The more we put in, the more we get out.
Yeah, I always tell people, put yourself in the way for good things to happen.
I think you and I should co-host these all the time, actually. I just think it's a good dynamic. Any hoodles. So the next thing I kind of want to talk about moving forward is your business plan for 2024. And some of you are going to say, Jen, it's too early, right? But it isn't. Holidays are coming, winter is coming, and we need to start figuring out, we should be done with our business taxes. That was due, if you're an S Corp, that was due Monday. So now's the time to focus on 2025, how you're going to kill it. I always go through and I say, and I evaluate myself, and I'm brutal on myself. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? Where were my fails? And what could I do better? And who in the industry do I think is really killing it? Who put in the effort this last year, and what did they do? Right? So I have some top agents on my board, and yeah, I'm implementing a lot of things next year, and I've already started this year. My follow-up and follow-through on all my leads, not that anybody cares about me, but the follow-up and follow-through on my leads has increased exponentially, so much so that I can't keep up. I might have to bring another agent onto the team to help me just handle the business that's coming in. But so for 2024, what are your goals, right? Alex, when you're looking at your business plan for 2025, what is your number one goal? Do you want to increase your commissions? Do you want to increase the volume that you bring in? Or is your goal simply to be better with clients?
My goal has actually been the same for the last 3 years, which is to work less and make more on the basic level. But as far as what you're saying, my main goal for 2025 is to take over market share. With the changes that have happened here in the last month, my main goal is to really solidify the importance of having a buyer's agent and being that buyer's agent in my market, right? I'm definitely more list side now than I have been in my career, which I know most agents prefer that. But personally for me, I feel like buyers are the ones who have the money, and I can still control my commissions on there. So for the next 15 months, the main goal is to take over market share. And I think that honestly, that doesn't really require even any additional effort. It just requires staying the same, personally. Because I just feel there's going to be massive attrition in the next 15 months.
I met you for the first time, I want to say, in 2019, maybe 2020, and when you first came in. I don't know what year you came into Krista's program, and I have watched you, and I have to say, I have mad respect for you and what you've done and what you've built. And I love that you have created a brand and you've stayed with that brand and you've built upon that brand, but the brand essentially hasn't changed. And I can't believe, I don't know how you could take more market share, at least from my perspective, right? Watching you in your town, it seems like you already have the market share. So yes, I think that's a great thing. When I'm building,
I would say,
go ahead.
yeah, in my market, like I am probably the authority on real estate. I would argue that, and I would hold that up against really any other agent in my market. But all that is because of like doing the work and implementing what I'm told. And it even within Chris's program, like there's so much, and this here, like y'all are doing so much stuff that I'm not doing. And I just know that if I did do it, it would be even more business. But for me, it's all been about lifestyle more than anything. And that's the number one goal.
Yeah, what I've noticed, and I would like to say maybe publicly, is that the programs that are given to us through Krista, even through other coaches, right? There's so much to them. And to succeed in real estate, you don't have to do it all. You just have to do one or two things really, really, really well. And even myself, being in business forever, I've always wanted to change and get better. And I've found that when I try to do too much, my production goes down and I get lost. So I've really focused in the last 6 months on, hey, get all out of your head and just do what you know best, right? So my 2025 is going to be big. I already know it. I'm already setting up the next 120 days. But I am going to sit down within the next week and I'm going to fill out all the things, right? So, you can pull off a sample business plan off of TomFerry.com. He has one out for 2025 right now. Greg Loser has one. Krista probably has one. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure she will. And usually Greg Gove or Greg Conley will do a business planning session in the next month or two. And I love getting on those because they always bring something added to it besides the basics of a business plan. So as I was going through and I was just looking at the 2025 business plan, I was just looking at the different sections that people are filling out. And number one is, what's your purpose? So writing down your purpose. Alex just said what his purpose was for 2025. And he has a clear, defined idea of what that is. The next one is, what are your motivations? What's your why? And I struggle. Anybody else here struggle with your why? I do. But your motivations, understand why you want to achieve these goals and why you're doing business in the first place. I always was told whenever I was going through like poor and some other things that your why should never be money. It can be, I need to make XYZ to pay off this, right? But your why should never just be, I want to be a millionaire, right? It needs to be, these are the goals that I have. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm going to do. So clearly defining what your motivations are is a big part of your business plan. The next one is, and I like to put these in different order. The next one on Tom Ferry's is your units and your goals. So how many units you want to do, how much volume you want to do, all of that. But I say it's more important to understand your financials, what you spent last year, what you made last year, what you had to give to taxes, what you had to give to your home, what you had to do to pay off your credit cards, or your monthly dollars. And then you can figure out what your goals should be to not only meet those expectations, but to save, reinvest in your business, and make more, right? Is anybody else with me on that? Or anybody having a comment there?
So once, I'll let Herb go. He has got something to say. He's driving. No, in a minute. One thing that changed for me from when I switched from my previous brokerage to EXP that was huge was that my expenses dropped significantly, right? And, that wasn't really something I was expecting too much, but going from paying a desk fee, office space, I had a bunch of other agents underneath me. My monthly budget for the first 6 months of 2023, last year, was $14,000 a month. And that was between lead generation, office space, marketing, coaching. And I remember 6 months after, I worked 14,000.
14,000.
Well, I mean, I was paying roughly $3,300 in lead gen. I was putting about $2,000 into Facebook marketing. My office space was $2,700 a month. My desk fee was $600. There were a few other MLS, BS, NAR, EKey fees. I had multiple coaches. I was paying roughly $2,600 a month on coaching. And honestly, that is an okay budget for me. It was. And when I switched to EXP, it seemed like every month my budget went down a little bit every single time. Like I no longer I'm not paying for any coaching program other than like Mind Valley, which is like $400 a year. Right now, because EXP, we have this, we have KMO, we have EXP, I mean, there's so many big names in this organization that like, you can go on to Wendy's call, you can go on to Mike Brown's call, Linnea, like there's so many.
And there's even Nolly Williams. He has a great program, the 2-hour work week or something, like work day. It'd be nice.
Literally, look at that. So like I got rid of I told everyone, including Krista, I'm like, I'm not hiring coaches in 2024. Like it's going to be the first year in probably 6 years where I haven't hired a real estate coach. Then, no office space, that saved me 27. So I went from like 1,400 to like 3,600 in December. And I've ramped it up a little bit. I bought into Lofty. I'm throwing some lead gen at that. I have an ISA. So it's probably up to, I know it's up to 5,600. That's what I'm paying right now. I know what my expenses are, but it's still like 30%, a little bit over 30% of what it was. So looking at that and like, I don't have a bunch of agents that I have to handle all the time. So like my time is freer, but
yeah. One of the things I have to do for 2025 is hire the ISA, because I have so many calls right now. I physically can't do the calls. Like I said, I worked till 11:40 last night and then I went to sleep and I was like, and then this morning I already sent a listing contract. So it's just like, help me. So I know I have to fix that in my business, and I also need a virtual assistant. Virtual assistants don't have to be, you don't have to go do the doer's way for $1,300 or anything like that a month. You can hire ISAs to do specific things. Like you get a listing and the ISA, I don't want to get off topic of the business plan, right? But, your ISA can go in and do those smaller tasks that are less than, $20 an hour. So that's another thing I'm implementing into my business plan next year. I do encourage everybody that sees this to go out, actively look for the different business plans that are available to you for real estate specific. If you don't know your financials, and I know there's some top producers on here, and you're going to say, what are you talking about, Jen? But a lot of newer agents really don't understand what they spend, what they need to make, where their money's going. And at the end of the year, they get their taxes and they owe a ton, right? Because they didn't put back enough, or they have found that I'm sorry, my dog just hit stranger button for the front door. That was very weird. Okay. Sorry. Anyways, so they also don't know how much money they spent on marketing on each listing, and they didn't pay it back, right? So they get listing on 1234 Stellar Street. They ordered the tour, they ordered the pictures, they did this, they ordered the floor plans, they spent on Facebook ads, and they put them on 2 different credit cards, and then they closed the deal, and they didn't pay those credit cards back, right? So I say one of the best, this is just like a little like old lady tip, one of the best things to do is go to your county divorce court and print out their financial statement and fill out the financial statement as if, yeah. Like, say it's true. If you fill that out, you start to realize how much you spend on everything. And then you need to know, then you figure out how much you owe. And then if you have a bookkeeper, CPA with a bookkeeper, they can make sure that you're paying back things or you're accounting it correctly. So that's a big thing that I think everybody should implement in one way or another for their 2025 business plan. And they talk about operations, how you're doing things, how you're going to do things, when you're going to post things, all that lovely stuff. And pretty much that's the essence of a basic business plan. How much you need to make, how you're going to do it, when you're going to post stuff. You can put a social media plan in with your business plan at the same time, and that becomes even more effective, especially if you have a rhythm to newsletters and a rhythm to just listed cards and a rhythm to all the things, holiday postings, and, you know, make sure that, like, Alex, this is one thing. This is really big. Alice, how many Google reviews do you have?
Google reviews? So I use Sotellus to collect all my reviews. My Google reviews are at 93.
At 93? What did you post the other day with 200? Was that Zillow?
That's Sotellus. That's a combination of Google, Zillow, Realtor, Trulia, all the different websites. And Facebook, it collects everything into one platform.
Yeah, so I have Rate My Agent. I had Sotellus for a little while. I don't remember which one I liked better at this point. Now I just have what I have. So, but that's another thing that I'm terrible at. Asking for the review. I know I should do it. And one of them allows you to ask for the review when you go under contract, which is better than at the end. If you can ask when you go under contract and if you can ask at the end, both, then the likelihood of you getting a review is really big. So that should be part of your business plan too. Make sure that you increase your reviews on Google, on all of the platforms. Anything else you think needs to go into a business plan or Alex, either one?
Well, I think, think of your marketing strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities, right?
Yeah.
So like, what are your strengths that you have today? What do you see as an opportunity, maybe some new channels or lead sources that you want to go after, or maybe there's some objectives that you want to, include in that plan. So I think those are some things that you can put into a business plan as you create it for next year. But I also want to throw out a comment when you said about taxes. And, one thing that was really a game changer for me a couple years back is I created an LLC, put my business into the LLC, and then actually paid myself through a payroll service, actually. And that way, I have a taxes being paid all the time, right, out of the business account. And then, there's I'll have myself a year-end bonus, which is my Christmas money fund or whatever. And so as we close out the year, it's oh, great, I can pay myself this much now. It's super.
I love that idea of a year-end bonus. I never thought of that. I was in an LLC, and then I had to switch to an S corp. That was a nightmare. But
yeah, I think I'm a S corp LLC. Somehow it's intertwined. I don't know, however my tax guy set it up, but yeah, I pay myself a salary so that I got enough money coming in every, pays every other week or something like that. And then I have, at the end of the year, I, look at where everything is I want to have enough reserve to keep things moving forward for the next year and all that kind of stuff in the business account. And then all this surplus, it's like, ooh, that's my year-end paycheck right there.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I've probably said it a million times, and you're probably tired of hearing me say it, but I do think that the biggest failure in real estate, hands down, is not understanding your financing and your spends, right? Like your finances, not your financing, and your spends. You know, agents get into the business, they think it's going to be easy, it's going to be HGTV, we're all going to get to drive, Bugattis and wear Jimmy Choo heels and walk around and show all the fun things. We think we're going to jump into luxury and they're going to accept us. And none of that is true. And you go out and the next thing you know, you've got an office fee or MLS fees, all the fees. I don't need to name them. And you're just shelling out. I mean, the most basic shell out, I think, bottom end is probably $1,000 to $1,200 a month, whether you sell anything or not. I don't care what company you're at. So if you could go, 5 months without making a sale, you're upside down, $5,000 to $6,000, right? And that's why I think we have so many failures. And then you get excited when you do make 2 sales in a row and you go out and you're like, I can do this forever. And you buy the Lexus or the, it's their car.
I would, go ahead.
I was going to say, I do like a quarterly budget review. So I take all, I put most all, or if not all of my expenses on like 1 or 2 credit cards. These are business credit cards only, no personal charges go on them, and no, anything that's business related goes on those credit cards, or in the business checking account. And I do a review of those at least every quarter, seeing what kind of expenses I can trim back, or that's like my quarterly audit of what can we chop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I found out that I had 2 Audible accounts and 2 Netflix accounts, both of which I canceled. So I agree with you on the quarterly. I think I probably paid 6 months to a year on them. I don't know, but
it's my Amex card. Every business expense goes on the Amex card, right? Pay that off every month and go from there. I actually, I would agree with you that the financials are probably, I would say they're the number 2 reason why agents fail. Number 1 is lack of sales. But like if you sell up houses, your expenses will take care of themselves, right? But and when I say lack of sales, I mean taking on additional clients more than I say means sales. More clients means longevity in business, right?
So here's a little funny fact that I can't believe I'm going to tell you this, but I grew up in a real estate family. My parents were both real estate brokers when I was a kid. And my dad's name was Bill Clinton, and he was his 3rd cousin. He was older. Never met the president, no political affiliations or anything like that. I'm just telling you because it's a fight. But my stepdad, Bill, owned a real estate company in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And when I went into real estate, reluctantly, he would say to me all the time, you are not in business until you have something on your shelf. You are not in business until you have something on your shelf. And he would just boom that into my mind, right? And one day I was like, come on, man, this is real estate is not the same thing. And he goes, hey, listen to me. If you walk into a grocery store today to go and buy milk and eggs, and they don't have milk and eggs, are you going to continue to spend your time in the grocery store and get all the rest of the things? Or are you going to leave and go to a store that has the milk and eggs? And I'm like, hey, okay, you're right. And that, my dear, is why 90% or 10% of the agents or more or less do 90 or 93% of the business, whatever that stat is, right? Because the agents that have something on their shelf are the ones that stay busy, right? So Keep that in mind with your business plan. Your business plan could simply say, I want to put 2 listings. I want to have 2 listings a month. You don't have to, don't shoot for 100 if you haven't sold 20 yet. Don't. Like, shoot for something that is realistic. You know what I mean? Because the Ted Turner way was always overshoot by a little bit and then you'll actually hit your goal. That was what he used to say in business planning when I was growing up. But I just aged myself big time. But yeah, so yeah, don't go so far that you're disappointed with yourself. But there's nothing worse than motivation loss either. Hey, tell me something, Herb. Go for it. Jump in with me always.
I was going to say for goals, remember the keywords. Make sure they're SMART goals. And what SMART goals, does everyone know what a SMART goal is? You're familiar with that? So SMART, SMART. So specific, measurable, actionable, and time dated. So think of specific. So every goal has to be specific. I'm going to list 2 homes a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's pretty specific. It's measurable. It's something you can measure. It's actionable. It's something that you can take action towards. And it's time dated. You said 2 in a month. So all goals need to be SMART goals.
Mm-hmm. I love it. What was the R?
Realistic.
Realistic.
Yeah.
I believe it's realistic.
Is it realistic? Yeah.
I believe it is. Yeah.
I love that.
Specific, actionable, realistic, and time dated.
Okay, so everybody that's in the call.
You can Google it in case I'm a little bit off on those.
I think you're perfect on it, whether it's right or not on Google. I think that's exactly what we needed to hear today. So everybody on the call is going to get a jump start and be all ahead of all the other top producers in the world. And we are going to get our business plan done within the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to know what our budget is for next year, what our goals, our specific goals are for next year. We're going to have our financials in place. We're going to kill it. Am I right? Anybody else on this call today?
Well, I would add to make sure you put on your plan is how you're going to connect with your top 100, your SOI, your referral sources throughout the year, because those are the easiest, they're your ideal clients and they'll refer you business. And I would just really make sure to put that in there. I always focus on where I'm going to be. So different restaurants, bars, coffee shops. So I know in the back of my mind the places that I like to show up to regularly because I have a mobile office, right? So I just make sure that I figure out a way to be in those places. And those aren't always I know on May 12th of 2025 where I'm going to be, but I know that I'm going to try to make it to that place once every other week, right? And then different events in your city. So if you know your local city event is going on, or I go to Dogs Downtown, or there's this thing called Thursdays on First, which is an event on Thursdays that we go to, right? Try to measure out and plan your vacations around those things. And then one thing I'd say that Herb mentioned about, he does a quarterly review on his budget. I do that, and then I also plan out the next quarter as well, right? Look at what my budget was for the last 90 days, and then I make a plan for what it's going to look like the next 90 days. And I always try to save 15 to 20% of that budget for other things that could come up, right? Maybe I got a few extra listings. I need to run a little bit of more ad spend behind it. Maybe there is some event that I want to go to, right? Plan out for EXPCon and build and things like that I got to pay for.
So one last question, a totally side note, has nothing to do with pricing in China. But when you're running ads, are you paying someone Street Text, or do you have Chris up there? Are you actually running them yourself? I'm just...
Yeah, I can run an ad in 2 minutes nowadays. It's every now and then, probably about 2 times a year, there's some silly change in Facebook that comes up that I'm like, what is happening here? But then I could just jump on like one of these calls or skin in the game call and someone tells me what's happening. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I just need to remove Business Explorer search from video views on my reels. Like, okay, let's let it go.
I don't tell the boss, but like the Facebook thing anymore is killing me. So now I just have somebody run it for me. I'm like, I just can't anymore. I don't use like the KV Core boost or anything like that. I actually have somebody do it, but I can't keep up, right? Keep up on my own self. But okay. So anyways, they're super excited. We're going to get our business plans going, and I will see you, I think, in 2 weeks. And hopefully Alex and Herb will come back on and we can talk about a different subject. I don't know what yet, but it'll be amazing. I guarantee you. So you guys have a good day.
And you too. Bye.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.